Good evening, everyone. We're going to call the meeting to order. Could we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out in this nice cold evening, but I don't think we're going to get snow, so that's a good thing, I guess. I like snow, but so we'll start off with some approval of some things, some housekeeping, and then we're going to move on. We have a pretty lengthy meeting, so we'll get through all this. I'd like to start off with the approval of January 14th, 2025 minutes, please.
I'll make a motion we approve the January 14th, 2025 minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We're going to do the receipt of the November 24th Treasurer's Report.
I'll make a motion to receive the November 2024 Treasurer's Report.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Two more. December 2024 Treasurer's Report.
I'll make a motion we receive the December 2024 Treasurer's Report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And one last one, the January 2025 check register.
I'll make a motion we receive the January 2025 check register.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. We are missing 2 council people tonight. However, we do have enough for a quorum, so we will be voting on several things. Just so everybody knows, we're missing 2, but we still have enough, so we're good to go. We're going to start off with the mayor's report. I have several people that need to be sworn in for separate things, so I'm going to get that done. They're welcome to stay or not stay, but there's one that's going to have to stay. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so the first is the Board of Supervisors of Elections, which is Marianne Wareheim. I don't know if she's here. I didn't see her yet. Owen Wagner or Sue Myers. Are any of them?
All right. I'll make a motion we approve the Board of Supervisors of Elections.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Are any of those 3 here? Okay. So, Kelly, they'll get in touch with you, and you'll get in touch with me on them. Okay. And then also for the oath of office, the Ethics Commission, which is Lorraine Thomas and Karen Knott. So I need a motion for those 2, if we could, if there's any questions.
I'll make a motion we approve the Ethics Commission for Lorraine Thomas and Karen Knott.
All
I'll
in
second.
favor? Oh, sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, no opposed, so that carries. So I'm going to approve 2 more, and then I'll go back and swear everybody in if that works for everybody. The oath of office for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I'll make a motion for Board of Zoning Appeals. Shane Thomas.
All in second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then also, well, we're going to come back to that one last. Let's start with these. Let's do, if all 3 of you will come up, we'll start with Lorraine Thomas and Karen Knott, if that's okay. I, Karen Knott, do affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and that you will be faithful and will bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and will support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that you will, to the best of your skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Ethics Commission member according to the Constitution and laws of the state. Congratulations. Same thing, okay. I, Lorraine Thomas, do affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and that you will be faithful and will bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland and will support the Constitution and laws thereof, and that you will, to the best of your skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of Ethics Commission member according to the Constitution and laws of the state. Congratulations. That's all you have to say. Shane, your turn. Okay. One thing right here. I, All right, so we have one more, and this is going to be for our new town administrator, Matthew Leister. So if I could have a motion, second.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Matthew Leister to the position of town administrator.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. So that carries. So Matt, I'm going to have you come up and let's do this, and then you'll go and hand it to Kelly, and then you'll be with Steve, okay? I do affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States, and I will be faithful and will bear true allegiance to the state of Maryland, and will support the Constitution and laws thereof, and I will, to the best of my skill and judgment, diligently and faithfully, without partiality or prejudice, execute the office of town administrator according to the Constitution and laws of the state. Congratulations, looking forward to working with you. Okay, well, let me start by saying congratulations to Matt. We're happy to have him. He will be starting next week, and he'll work with Steve for a while, and then he'll be on his own, and we'll go from there. We did some interviews, and he did a wonderful job, so we chose him, and we're all looking forward to spending a lot of time with him. So, welcome aboard, Matt. All right, now let's get to my mayor's report. So, the FY25 budget work session will be held on Wednesday, January 26th at 6:30 p.m. here. Water shutoffs will be Wednesday, February 19th. The Charlotte B. Collette Memorial Scholarship due by May 1st. Don't forget to pick up your application at Manchester Valley High School Guidance Office or at the Town Hall or online at www.manchestermd.gov. The MML Scholarship is due on April 25th. The Carroll County chapter of the Maryland Municipal League offers 3 $1,000 scholarships for those. Go on our website at manchestermd.gov. Yard waste pickup on Wednesdays. Huge trash will start April 9th and continue through December 17th. Yard waste consists of grass clippings, leaves, and small branches not in excess of 3 feet and or 4 inches in diameter. Branches must be bundled in armful loads. Yard waste should not be mixed with mulch, dirt, or any residential refuge or pet waste. Residents should place lawn waste curbside on Tuesday evening or Wednesday pickup. Please, please, if it's really, really windy like it was this week, I know you want to get your recycling out, but try to get up a little early and put it out. Because I know they're trying to get there early to get it picked up, but the recycling is a disaster when it gets windy like that. All yard waste must also be placed in the large craft bags or in a container to be dumped. No plastic bags when it comes to any of that. We also have elections coming up, so those interested in running for the position of council member, there's 3 this year. 1 opening for sure. I believe 2 are going to continue on their term, but they will also be up for election. They must file a nomination packet by April 7th. Packets are available on our website, and the election will be held Tuesday, May 20th, with polls opening from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. So please come out and vote. It's very important. Bulk trash pickup is April 16th. You must first call Hughes for trash removal and then set up a bulk pickup. And brush pickup is April 24th. Remember that your pile can't exceed 4 inches in height, 4 feet in height, 4 feet in width, and 8 feet in length. Yes. Each property will receive 1 pickup. Town collects this twice a year, so April and October. So we're having some paint can disposal issues. Please do not place your cans of undry paint in the trash. They're not supposed to take it. The paint must be completely dry with either cat litter or shredded paper. These guidelines must be followed or they cannot collect it. So it's beginning to be a mess when people are trying to paint and leaving the paint in the cans and all that good stuff. So if we follow all those. Also, I just wanted to say with our snow that we had, as usual, our staff, they did a wonderful job. Our roads are usually cleaner than every other one in Carroll County, and I really appreciate that. And also to the police that have really done well with trying to keep people off of the snow emergency routes. As we all know, or maybe we don't know, every street in the town is a snow emergency route when there's snow. So if you're going to get snow, please be off the road. Unfortunately, there will be tickets. So We've tried to warn everybody that we can, but at some point, you can't do anymore. So I appreciate that, and I think that's all for now until I think of something else. Town Administrator report?
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council, members of the community. I'd like to congratulate Matt. He has a future here. He did a very good job during his interview, and I was very impressed with him. So I look forward to working with him. Yes, it's on.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay, we'll begin with the January 2025 administrative report. Under pending items, the wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrade. CDM Smith and Town staff reviewed the 60% design drawings. We had numerous questions that were brought to the attention of the engineering firm, and they are in the process of answering them. The 90% design phase is slated to be completed on March 28th. The PFAS project, request for proposal for engineering design, was approved by MDE. Advertisement was sent out. Proposals are to be back on March the 10th. The ADA crosswalk project at Manchester Elementary School, 4 companies were solicited for bids. Only one responded back. I'm in the process of contacting others. And I did receive another bid, and I meet with a contractor next Wednesday. So we're starting to get some bid prices in. The broadband fiber project, a progress meeting was held January 31st. The entire installation is nearing completion. The Manchester East Stormwater Facility, the county is still in negotiation with the property owners. The Main Street trees and sidewalks and the Main Street crosswalk refurbishment project, no movement on either one of those projects. Charlotte's Quest Nature Center, the date of Thursday, March 13th at 7 p.m. has been set for a joint meeting between the mayor and the council, the Nature Center representatives, and town staff. So that's March 13th at 7 p.m. here. The Manchester Post Office lease agreement, negotiations are complete. We were able to increase the annual rent from $41,796 to $54,335 for the next 5 years. Also decreased the lease company's commission from $9,300 down to $1,500. Since I received no response from our local postmaster on the condition of our local post office, I composed a letter and forwarded to the UPS headquarters in Washington. It's only been several weeks, but I haven't heard anything back from them. The last time I did that was 4 years ago, and they responded back and sent an inspector out. So hopefully the same thing will happen. The Watershed Action Plan grant, Kelly and I had a virtual progress meeting on the 14th with Hanover Land Design and National Fish and Wildlife and town staff. That is currently up in the air. We have to make some changes to the application, but with the president cutting funds, that grant could be cut. So the ladies that were present from National Fish and Wildlife, we're doing some checking on that. So that could be next. The sale of the Long Lane parking lot, introduction of ordinance number 263, and we were advertised for public hearing. So that comes up later on the agenda. 2 things that I want to bring to the attention of the mayor and council that isn't on my list. On February 12th, Kelly and I attended a virtual meeting with our energy broker. We are in a consortium through a co-op through the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce. And projections are estimated that our electrical cost will double. So that's something to consider in our budget workshop next Wednesday evening to discuss that. Also, one thing that I admitted, the Manchester Laundromat opened up several weeks ago. So that's a plus for our town. So that's open. Under code enforcement and zoning, you have in front of you the monthly code enforcement update. There is no significant movement on Equine Meadows and the Maverick One Solar project. The grading is still ongoing. So I have one action item, the adoption of the administrative policy as it relates to the volunteer project management document on projects within the town of Manchester Parkland. And you all have a copy of that. I've emailed you all and also town staff, and this is the This is the final draft. It's just to keep tabs on projects, whether it's at the ball fields, whether it's in Christmas Tree Park, any one of our parks, and Charlotte's Quest Nature Center. So I request the adoption of that. So you want to do that now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Make a motion?
I just had one question, because I looked through it. Do they have to visit us twice for approval?
Yes.
Like it says phase 2, and then like, kind of like, oh, okay, this is what you're gonna do, and then phase 6 is like what they did do.
Right,
Okay,
correct.
cool.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yes.
Can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we adopt the administrative policy as it relates to the volunteer project management documents on projects within the town of Manchester Parkland.
I'll second it.
Approved? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It
Great,
carries.
thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
We'll move into the Public Works report. You have in front of you the monthly water and wastewater data report for January. Rodney has in his report noticed the water usage is up from last month due to 10 water leaks in the month of January. Of course, we had some severely cold weather and we had some issues along the way. One good thing to look at that, and I skimmed over, our wells have stabilized out, and that's a good thing. Also, he sends a weekly report out, and a good indicator is our spring. And our spring has normalized, so that's also a good thing. So the snowpack is getting into the groundwater, which is good. Under water and wastewater, the York Street Water Tower rehab, that's 99% complete. The cell carriers have moved all their equipment over to the water tank, and that's coming to an end. The York Street Water Tower standpipe replacement, that's coming up later on the agenda. The PFAS mitigation, I talked about the RFP, and bids are due back March 10th. I spoke about the wastewater treatment plant ENR upgrade, the effluent pump station rehabilitation project. Installation is expected in early March of 2025, just in time when we transfer out to the spray fields. The Headworks Chamber bar screen project, that's to be installed also in March of 2025. Under Parks, Maintenance, and Facilities, the Tot Lot Playground Tour replacement at Crossroads Overlook is 100% complete. The F-750 dump truck to replace our 2007 International is expected to be delivered in May of 2025. He has the winter events listed. And I agree with the mayor, our crews do a fantastic job with minimal or no complaints. And then he has an action item, which you have in your packet of information. Approval to purchase 21 permaloggers. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So our first generation permaloggers have come to the end of their life. We're having problems getting technical assistance. They've been giving us issues. They're not reliable. So the staff looked into a different type of water leak detector. And they come upon this style, Guterman. And actually the salesman placed 6 out in the system. And within 2 weeks, we found a water leak, which there were previous leak detectors on both sides of the water leak, and they didn't pick them up, but these units did. So we have to switch gears and go to a more modern system, a more modern leak detection system, and it's money well spent. Water around here is like gold, and if we can get on these leaks in a hurry, you know, that means the world to our public works guys, and also we save time, we save money, and we save water. So at this time, I'd like to propose the purchase of 21 data loggers from Exeter Supply Company for $37,315 which is within the fiscal year budget of $54,000.
Steve, can I ask a question? Is that the only company that does it, or we look at different companies?
We looked at different companies.
Okay,
yeah.
that was the best price?
Yes, this was
Okay.
the best, the most reliable system, so.
It was budgeted, but it wasn't ARPA, was it, by any chance? Okay, just wondering. I was
no,
hoping.
Yeah.
Okay.
So these will replace all of the ones that we currently have, or
No,
are we
we-
phasing these in?
We're
And
phasing them in.
so then that will
yeah.
give us how many total? Because I see we're trading, I guess, 21 in.
Yes, we have 54 remaining.
Okay.
So this will cut into the 54, yes.
Any other questions? We have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we receive the following proposal for 21 data loggers from Exeter Supply Company in the amount of $37,315.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, that's all I have for right now. Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
Chief, police report?
Police report is going to be short. The majority of the calls this month, we had zero crime in the area of like Part 1 crime, misdemeanor crime. We had zero crime in the area of Part 1 crime, misdemeanor crime. A lot of the calls unfortunately surrounded domestic issues. 2 of the 4 arrests were domestic issues. A lot of crisis intervention calls. The same goes for the stats with the overdoses. Out of 25 overdoses in the county, 16 of which were attempt suicides. Unfortunately, in the town of Manchester, we had one of those that involved a young juvenile who attempted to overdose. That person's okay. Still dealing with those crises that surround that whole ordeal. The overdoses, unfortunately, again, are up. We're looking at probably about a 50% increase. The fatalities are up. And when I say up, the numbers are going to fluctuate. It's January. It was really cold. We had 4 fatalities. Heroin is like 0. Fentanyl's still a problem, and a lot of it's prescription medication. So that you know, I'm pretty sure we're going to stay in front of it. The numbers will come back down, but unfortunately, as we all know, it's been a cold month. There's been a lot of people inside. Who knows, with the depression, hard times, the money, there's just been a lot of calls surrounding crisis intervention, and again, the overdoses pretty much mirror that. Citations and traffic was 62. We did have 2 arrests, no DUIs, and that's about it. It was short. It's cold. Its calls have been mediocre, but you know, it's mainly domestics and crisis intervention. That's about it.
And I will just make note that we are still working on the speed issues. It's been dealt with, it's being dealt with.
And then on top of that, the cameras aren't, well, not the cameras, we're not doing anything like that, but the speed,
The solar signs?
yeah, they're acting up. Somebody in this room got clocked at 166 miles per hour.
That was me.
I won't say who that person is. She wants to-
I was doing 19, I just want you to know, but it was 166 mile an hour.
But that's funny. So I was doing 19, and the one on Main Street clocked me at 45.
Well, it said
I don't know
high.
if it's-
When I first drove up, it said high. And then it just kept climbing from there, and I'm like,
Yeah.
so.
So I don't know if it's the temperatures. We're looking at batteries. We are having some problems with the batteries. We are going to be adding some speed signs.
So the person that got clocked at 166, I imagine they got away, right?
They're not catching me.
I'll give them credit, though. They self-reported.
Yeah,
They
I'm
did
honest.
self-report it.
I'm honest. I real quick said, just so you know, before you get this, it's me.
But in town, you know, with we have one officer on extended military leave. He's in Africa, and it's just keeping up with it. As soon as we go from one neighborhood, it picks up again in another neighborhood, and it's just a revolving problem. And a lot of it's residents. We do have some PA traffic, but a lot of it is residents. We are catching more and more residents.
God willing, he'll be home safe soon, and that'll be a help,
Yes.
so.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Steve, do you want to touch on the York Street Tower sandpipe emergency replacement, and then we can?
Yes, this is an emergency pipe replacement. So, once we got the York Street tank filled after painting it, a pinhole developed in the standpipe. So we had that, we banded that, and that was fine for several weeks, and then another pinhole developed. So, we had this problem 10 years ago. So we don't know what's causing the problem. Is it electrolysis? Is it the insulation around the pipe? But, does it have something to do with the cell phone carriers on the tank? Because, like I said, we replaced that pipe 10 years ago. The Manchester Baptist Church tank, a section of that standpipe also had to be replaced. So there's a lot of things going on, but at the end of the day, we have to replace that standpipe. In the meantime, we had a staff meeting, and we talked about reaching out to the cell phone carriers to see if they could investigate the issue, to see if any of their equipment is causing the problem. And then we thought, no, we'd be better off to contact our local electrician. But now that we have a licensed electrician on board, we can see if that standpipe is grounded, if there's any electric going into the standpipe, or what is actually causing the problem. So, again, this is an emergency. We've dealt with this company in the past. There's not a lot of companies in the general area that does this kind of work. So we're kind of limited, and we were pleased with their work before. So the entire package to replace that 12-inch standpipe is $102,000. Now, a portion of that is going to be paid out of ARPA funds, correct, Kelly?
Correct.
So, that's where we're at. So,
So
but we have to investigate this to see what's causing the problem. Because our Park Avenue tank, which was installed back in the 60s, knock on wood, and it'll probably leak tonight, but knock on wood, we have no cell phone equipment on that tower, and we've had no problem with it. And it seems like the towers that have the cell phone equipment are something's going on, and we don't know what it is.
Well, I know that the leases on them are very good, they're lucrative.
They are,
But I guess when we renew them, we might have to take that into account
correct.
at their lease of what, assuming this is gonna happen every 10 years, that we take it into account, that it's gonna, to budget for it,
Correct.
if
How-
that's the only one that's doing it.
How much of this is coming from ARPA funds? Yeah.
Put it in the email, but I don't remember what. I have to get back and look.
At least 75%,
Is it? Okay.
yeah.
What's the turnaround on this if we vote and approve it tonight? How
Actually,
quickly can it be installed?
Actually, I talked to our water superintendent today, and the gentleman called up, and as soon as we approve it, accept his bid, he'll order the materials, and that'll take about a month, and then they can start, so about a month and a half, I would say.
And will we have to drain the entire tank?
Yes, we will.
Hmm.
Yes. When we say drain, we use that water to a certain point, and then we have to, and it's not a lot of water we have to waste, but we have to waste.
We just won't keep it filling.
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay. So we need a motion, but how are we gonna do the motion? Oh, did you have a question? I'm sorry.
Would we have noticed this if it was like if we weren't getting everything repainted, like the data loggers we have currently, correct? Or is this kind of something luckily that we happened upon?
When the operators visit the tank
Okay.
on a routine basis,
Okay, so it's just
they noticed condensation that they thought was condensation, and they investigated it farther, and they found a pinhole.
okay.
And again, the painters, it just was coincidental that the painters just finished, and they had nothing to do with it. This is something else.
Okay. And just the lack of red up there might be easier on that going forward as well. Is that a part of that too? Like how we had the name written out in the.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Yep.
So on the motion, I assume we're gonna do a motion and just say partially funded by ARPA money, since we don't have the exact.
I believe it was all funded
You think it was all?
when we did your,
Make a motion
yeah,
quick.
because the idea was to lower what we were gonna spend on
One of the emails.
design.
Is that an email? So I'm looking for.
Pulling up the email.
All right, so It's 100% funded through ARPA.
We're good to go.
For sure. They're checking their email, so I'm saying, if you're sure of that, then we'll just move forward with it.
That's so bad. My goodness.
The funding for the emergency repair will be made using ARPA money.
Yep. Right, good memory, Kelly. Okay. If there's no other questions, could we have a motion?
So then the total cost,
I'm
you
sorry.
said,
102,000.
all right, I'll make a motion. We go with the staff recommendation to replace the fill line piping in the York Street Water Tower to All American Services Incorporated for the amount of $102,000 from using ARPA funds.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
And you will hear more about this in the future because, like I said, we're going to do some investigating, figure out what the heck's going on. So,
Okay. So next we have the North Carroll Rec Council request for replacement of the building on the town property. This is that they've applied for the grant, correct?
yes, that is correct. They applied for a self-help grant.
Okay. So my understanding is, did they already get the grant? I thought they just applied.
I can't answer that.
Okay. So are we to make a motion for the request if the grant gets approved? Or what are we?
Are we approving the
There's-
placement of the
there's
building?
representatives here
Oh.
from the rec council. They can,
Yeah, let's do that
because
now.
there's some
Get that.
questions that I have
Okay.
for them.
Yes, please. Hi, just tell us your name and who you are and
Hi, I'm Justin Otto. I'm the president of the football and cheer program for North Carroll.
I'm Bethany Benner, Fish. I'm the treasurer for the North Carroll Rec Council program.
thank you. So you want to tell us a little bit about what
Yeah.
you're, okay.
So we put in for a self-help through Carroll County Parks and Rec. They pay 75% of a project that we submit to them. We're looking to add storage in the park for the program. Our concessions, our program is growing over the last 5 years. Our concessions is growing. The building that we currently have is a little too tight, so we're just looking to add another manufactured shed in the parking lot, location to be determined, so that we could store, have more sales. It's a big fundraiser for us. It helps us keep costs low for the families in the area. We're actually one of the lowest programs for fees. So we have not gotten the grant. It's going to Parks and Rec. They have to vote on it still. But we wanted to bring it to your attention to get your approval in case we do get the funds. There will be another one in the fall. So we will, if we do not get it, we'll resubmit, as long as we have approval from the councilman.
I think there was a question about something with the water line there or something, correct, Steve?
Yes, the location that you sent us,
I have some more if you guys wanna pass it out. That was just a rough location.
Because I like it's a storage shed. You don't need water and sewer.
Correct,
Yeah, like,
yes.
yeah.
But it's on
So
top,
there's options to
Yes.
it. 'cause
but
it's-
this proposed one was on top of what looks to be a water and a sewer line.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was just a screenshot from Google Earth. There's a pole there, there's 2 spaces, but we are open to putting it on the other side. It is just I have a generic photo of what it will be. It's just a generic shed.
Movable type.
We could move it, we could slide it out of the way, depending if that's an issue of location. But we are open. There's doors on both sides of that concession stand, if you'd like to pass this. Cool. Just a generic photo. So there's details that we haven't finalized, so.
The other thing
Swim,
is
Miss Debbie.
there will be doors on that end, so we can't butt it up against the existing building as it is. So, our ideal was to have 15 feet between the current building and the new building.
My only, because I'm like, that's awesome. I played North Carroll football. I'm happy for you guys, and my son plays Manchester baseball. My daughter does too. Awesome. All that's going on. The only concern I have is a little bit tight when everybody's parking and stuff. Do you see I kind of drew that? Are
Yeah.
you willing to turn it like that?
Oh, yeah,
potentially?
absolutely. We were trying to keep down 2 spaces.
Yeah.
So we weren't I know parking is very tight in the park.
Yeah, I think when you like come up that high, it's almost like you expect to be like hemmed in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We are open to put it on the other side. That was just the first.
But it's for the
rendition.
concession stand, so it has to
Yes.
be like
There's doors
close
on
to
both
it.
sides.
Because initially, if it was like for like, I don't know, football pads, I'm like thinking it could be like right there or like all the way up here, but
Yes.
it's concession storage.
And anything else that we seem fit. Mainly, it will be concessions.
Yeah, I was just thinking initially you want it there because you could walk stuff down the field easier,
Yes.
but that's not the case, so.
And we do wanna run electric over to it.
Yeah.
So if we can
Has
stay
to
as
be
close
close, but,
to run the.
but you're open to like if you're saying like this way, just turning it?
I don't care which way it goes.
Okay, I think it would be less.
Yeah.
Tight. I mean, less parking spots, but.
My initial thought was to go long ways.
I mean, when you come down into that, you already know you're like, it's a ton of people and like, I mean, you can walk, it's a good warm up. So.
I don't have an issue with you guys applying for the grant and that kind of thing. I do have an issue with it on the water and the sewer, just in case there's a break. Just because of the I realize it's movable, but that's an extra step that if something happens and we have a water main break or something, or a sewer line break underneath
We'd
there,
have to empty it all out.
we'd have to empty it, we'd have to move it. It adds extra onto our guys,
where I
so they couldn't repair it as quickly. They wouldn't be able to access it as easily.
I think the conversation was they wouldn't have a problem moving it on the other side of the
Yep, yeah, I'm
concession stand.
fine if that's,
This is what
And-
Ryan
yeah,
was talking
and
about.
it-
When
I mean, it can be closer too.
Yeah,
just-
when I drew that, I was not aware that the
Yeah.
water sewer runs right from there. I know the water is on that side of the building, but how we drew it is just to get a rough idea.
but
Matt, do you have an
Kelly,
opinion? You may as well, you're gonna have.
We
it
were,
next week.
I would try to keep it off the water and sewer lines, since we're talking of, putting electric to it.
Yeah.
So you have to unhook that before you can even move the shed out of the way.
Yeah, and as
So
council,
if there's nothing on the other side, that would be optimal.
Yeah.
as Councilperson Miller alluded to, if something breaks, the town is responsible for it, so that's an extra step to empty out the shed and then move the shed and get in there and make the repair. So, on the other side, not that it's optimal on the other side, but I don't think a lot of people park on the upper side of the concession stand. I think there's enough space in there that you'd be fine.
Yeah, so on game day, we restrict parking down there. It's only coaches, refs, or board members, so it's not that bad. And during practice, those are the older teams. A lot of the kids get dropped off and leave. So, I mean, we do use a lot of parking, but it's not that big of a deal to lose 2 spots. And we can adjust the size to only accommodate 2 spots if that's needed, or a restriction that you guys would want us to. We're open to.
I know town staff, we had talked about this, and we were thinking, what about up on the hillside by the old, I'll call it the old electrical shed. But you want electric and, you could get it out of the electrical shed, but there'd be some grading that would have to be done to level the spot and so on and so forth.
Yeah, this is more for our concession stand with extra storage. We do a big fundraiser at the beginning of the year where we kind of overload our concessions and we actually use some of our other storage sheds. We do, like each team gets chips or drinks or whatever to help so we don't spending as much. So we're trying to keep it as close as possible.
Sure.
So on game day, they're not having to truck all the way up the hill and back. That's why we're looking for close.
Right.
And additionally, we wanna move the freezer that's in the current building in there, so that we have, we stick about 8 women in that little snack shack as it is now, and we're kinda elbow to elbow. So if we could get that freezer into the new shed where we store all the french fries and stuff, that way it just gives us more room to be able to add another additional help in there, without literally stepping on each other.
Right.
So we're in agreement that there's not an issue with having the shed. Do we wait till they get it approved and then they come back and we talk about where it's gonna go, or do we have to do that now, or?
I would recommend, well, I don't think they'd have to come, well,
Can we make a motion to
Tentatively
support the project?
Approve it based on
Based on what-
receiving the funds.
Based on,
Location.
yeah.
Location to be finalized upon receipt.
Yep,
And
yeah,
would you guys be okay with that if we give you approval on the project and you just have to, once it's approved, you come back and we just finalize where it's gonna be and the,
Yes, so we'll
Okay.
have to make adjustments to probably the shed, depending how much they actually fund us, because it is county-wide and they only give us a certain portion. So, yeah, we could actually, with approval and we get funding, we could come back with the final design and we can determine location and everything. Yeah, that's not a problem at all.
does anybody have any questions on
I
that?
mean, I can try a motion if you want, but you might have to fix it up a little bit.
Go ahead, Brian.
All right, yeah, all right, so I make a motion to support the North Carroll Rec Council and their bid for a grant with the county to get approved with the option of suggested location upon approval from the town.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Took a
you.
lot of my brain power, all right.
Good luck.
That's from football.
All right. Okay. Next, we're gonna do we're gonna introduce, ordinance 263 regarding the sale of the municipal parking lot behind Spargo's. There will be a public hearing on April 8th, I believe it is, at 7 PM. We have to do this because of advertising, and having to move the meeting, so we have to put it back till April. So that'll be the public hearing for that parking lot. I think that's it for that, right? All right, so we're gonna go into questions and comments from the community. Looks like we have Susan Ross. Okay, could you step up here and tell us who you are and your address and what's going on?
I thought it'd just be me and you guys. My name is Susan Ross. I live at 3058 Westminster Street, Manchester, Maryland. I received a letter last week, when I finally picked it up from the post office, about I have chickens in the yard. I've had the chickens for quite some time, and this letter says I have to get rid of them. I only have 3 chickens. They're in the coop. I don't let them out. They don't wander, whatever. It's clean. I'm getting ready to put wallpaper in the coop because that's what I want to do. I have the eggs for my kids. The eggs, price of eggs now. I just would like to be able to keep the 3 birds. They're in a small coop. It's not huge. They're in between my hedges.
Okay.
I have letters from 2 of my neighbors. They're not a nuisance. They're not, the rat infestation is what it says here. I haven't seen rats. My neighbors haven't. And if it's a rat infestation, why weren't we all notified about that when it was?
Well, I will tell you that obviously I don't know how long you've had the chickens, but in the town of Manchester, it's never been allowed to have chickens, ever. And I will be honest when I tell you, I actually fielded one of the calls that somebody on your street, 2 people on your street have rats. And there's a concern with the rats, and that's one of the reasons, obviously, we don't have chickens in town, from that and other nuisance things. And unfortunately, we've had several people come in here that have had chickens that we've had to say no to. And we've never been allowed to have them. And unfortunately, I'm not saying it's your chickens that are causing the rats, but with the situation, we can't
But it's
have
only
chickens.
3 birds, and I don't let them out, and I just don't know why I have to get rid of them. I've had them for a while, a long time, and nobody seemed to complain. And I don't want to get rid of them.
I understand, and I'll be honest with you, we wouldn't have known if we didn't get complaints. So,
I realize that because they've had them for quite some time.
right, we
3
wouldn't,
birds.
I mean, we had, and obviously it's not my place, and I would never, get into that situation. But if there's complaints about it and people have rats, and we just, the ordinance, I mean, you guys can speak for it, you've been here longer than me, how long it's been that we've never been allowed to have fowl or chicken or anything. We've had several people, not on your street, but a couple streets up that went through the same thing with last year. And we can't
But
have
before I
them in
moved
town.
up here, you were allowed chickens up here. And when I called before I got the coop and talked to the neighbors,
You called town and they approved it?
they said I could have the chickens. I didn't want to
In
flock. I
town?
wanted to,
So-
I assume when I first bought the house.
How long ago was that?
I've been here, it'll be 6 years next month. I
Oh,
think,
yeah, it's
April.
been,
So our
Over
town
30
code,
years.
if I'm not mistaken, classifies chickens as agricultural because their products or byproducts could be consumed or sold for consumption, which then puts them into that. So those would fall under, and correct me if I'm wrong, you'd have to have agricultural zoning, number one, for that. And I think there's 2 or 3 ordinances in there in relationship to any kind of poultry or chickens, ducks, geese, those kind of things.
I mean, we're well versed with this, unfortunately, because we actually had to meet with the attorney over this last year with somebody else with chickens. And as much as I hate to say it, we can't have them.
Well, what about, can I appeal all this tonight? Or do I mean, I just don't want to get rid of them. I just don't. Suppose I don't get rid of them.
Well, if you don't get rid of them, there's a fine process.
And suppose I take the fine and I just keep the birds.
You'll get so many fines that you won't want to keep the birds. I mean, I don't know how else to say it in a nice way. I mean, it
I
doesn't,
understand, I got that.
I'm not trying to be
I understand,
you
I
know,
got that.
hard about it or whatever, but unfortunately, we've had to do it too. I would say you're probably the 6th person since in the last year that we've gone through this with. And I get it, the price of eggs, I'm buying them too.
Well, I have 11 kids. It costs a lot for eggs for 11 kids.
I'm sure it does. I have 3 and it costs a lot, so, but we can't
Well,
have
what
them.
about if I move the birds
2
inside
outside
my
of town.
house?
No, you can't have them.
But if they're in the house, you don't see them, why can't, if it's my house? And somebody who, I talked to somebody up here last week, I forget who it was, if she doesn't see the birds, there's nothing they can do.
But we already know they're there.
But you don't come in my house, inside.
Well, all I can tell you is,
I know.
you can't have chickens. There are complaints on your street, and I mean, I don't have a better answer for you
I
other than
know.
you can't have chickens. You can't have fowl. You can't have,
Well, how long do I have to get rid of them?
what does the letter say? Is it they 30 days?
I don't know, I've got, it was dated, I think, the 24th, and I just picked it up last week, and I came up right away, but
Okay.
the meeting was closed, I think.
Do you
last
know if it's
two.
Not off the top of my head, I think it's 30 days.
That's what I thought it was too. I mean, I'd be willing to say, not 30 days from the letter, I'd be willing to say to you, okay, 30 days from today versus not back to January to give you time
Right.
to do that. I mean, I know nobody wants to do it, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but
You are the bearer of bad news.
I know. I don't always get the fun stuff. Sorry.
Okay,
All right. Thank you for coming. I'm sorry.
hey, no problem. Thank you.
Can we follow up with a push out on our social media and things, just reminding people of the ordinance and things that we have in place, since spring is coming, Easter is coming?
Sure.
People do tend to go to TSC, Rural King, buy chicks for Easter. Just a reminder of, this is our code, this is our policy. I know all of the places have signs up saying, check with your local town, municipality, whatever, but just to kind of reiterate, knowing that
We know everybody loves chicks, but don't buy them for Easter because you can't have them.
We can do that.
All right, is anybody else here to speak at all? Is there anybody else? Okay. All right, let's start with Councilman Nazelrod. What do you have for us? Anything?
Say mostly intergovernmental relations. There's a lot going on at many levels. This is the municipal level, the town. I mean, I'm glad to be part of it, but I think there's a lot going on. Last night, there was a legislative meeting of all the Carroll County reps where Carroll residents could attend and express their concerns, and we're finding out a lot of things between recent decisions of elected officials at the board, but also state mandates that they've been put under that affect students in schools. So if you ever need to be informed of any of that, of what's going on in terms of decisions related to schools, I would suggest following some of the Board of Ed members on their social media, or calling them, contacting them, asking them what the issues are, and how you can advocate for Carroll County or your area and what your concerns is, and to be informed. And a lot of people, I will say, if they don't have kids in school, they're like, oh, this is not for me, but eventually it might affect, your taxes or some of the things that you feel happen in schools. So you still have a part and you're still somebody there. So, Carroll, a lot of times how it's governed is a little bit different. not in the mechanisms, but in how it feels with the state. So sometimes there's stuff that happens at the state level that we might feel different in Carroll, but the decisions are made at a state level, and you just have to be aware of that. So each element of government kind of affects the other, coming down to the municipal level and whatnot. So continue to follow the news with the local stuff, as well as there's a lot of national stuff going on, but you can always make an impact more locally by doing that.
Thank you. Okay, Debbie's not here. Councilwoman Howe, I'm going to real quick cover something for Councilman Pacelli. There is a North Carroll Business Alliance meeting Thursday at Dutch Corner. So I'm not sure if anybody from here is going. I'll follow up on that for Thursday.
All right.
Councilwoman?
So coming up in March, I am meeting with one of the Cub Scout Boy Scout troops. They're coming up to Town Hall. They're working on one of their merit badges. So they're going to come up, they're going to tour, get some information about local government and that kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. That's the beginning of the month.
Thank you.
And also we have the quarterly MML meeting. Some of us are attending. So we need to just make sure we keep on doing what we need to do with those.
Councilman Cuneo?
The Plan and Zoning Commission did meet on January 21st, a very short meeting, but we did meet again on February 10th in a working session where we spent some time updating some of the current zoning code that hadn't been updated in a while. Our next meeting is March 18th, and hopefully we will have something back on Equine Meadows by that point as far as their stormwater management.
Thank you. We don't have any youth representatives.
she's here.
Oh, I didn't see you. I'm sorry. You want to come up and speak? I didn't see you. I'm sorry.
I'm flying solo today.
Okay. So usually there's about 4 of you.
At least 2 normally.
Yeah.
But, okay, so unfortunately, I don't have the sports coverage because I wasn't aware that I was going to be by myself tonight. But I do have some other things going on at the school. This week, we are celebrating Culture Week at Manchester Valley. And we are spending the week just honoring and representing different cultures and traditions. So today we recognized Chinese New Year, and we learned about the traditions of Lunar New Year with an assembly from a local martial arts studio. They came in and they put on a lion dance, so that was very wonderful to see. Recently, for Valentine's Day, the National Honor Society held their Valentine's Day breakfast at the school. We were supposed to have a Valentine's dance, but that unfortunately got canceled due to a lack of ticket sales. So instead, we held a breakfast, and also going along with Valentine's Day, the Manchester Valley High School Vocal Ensemble, which is one of the chorus groups, we celebrated Valentine's Day by performing Singing Valentines around the school. So we went around to all the classrooms and spent the day singing, which was very lovely. Rehearsals for the spring musical Newsies are well underway. Shows are April 4th, April 5th, April 11th, and April 12th. So if you would like to come support the high schoolers, and just an amazing show. I'm a part of it. It's a wonderful group of people, wonderful performance. It's shaping up to be probably one of our best musicals. The International Thespian Society, also on a theatrical note, they performed their show, The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane, at Towson University at the Maryland Thespian Festival a couple of weeks ago. And we earned an excellent rating, which is the second highest that you can earn. We were unfortunately not chosen for the chapter select, meaning we were not the best in Maryland, but it's still an honor to be able to perform in front of different judges from all over the state. Sorry, what else do we have? The class of 2028, the freshman bingo, they had their bingo on Saturday, and they made over $10,000 for their class, which is a decent amount of money. And tomorrow night, there is a restaurant night happening at Jersey Mike's. So if you would like to come out and support all of the classes, all of the school, mention Manchester Valley High School in person, or you can use code MVH20 online, and half of your sale will be donated to the classes. And that's all I have for today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming. Matt, do you have anything at all? I know you weren't prepared. I don't want to put you on the spot. But
I'd just like to say I thank you for the opportunity and look forward to working with the council members and the administration team here.
thank you. We're looking forward to it as well. Okay. All right, we have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.